Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Friday evening. It is 9 o'clock. Time for a live stream. But first, a little music. As always, enjoy. We are all the heirs to Scotland, as a nation proud we stand. We will march beneath her banners to protect our ancient land. In the glens and cities, there on every street, are the living heroes no army will defeat. Let a flag mean freedom and not a battle drum. To the world we bid a welcome in 1,000 different ways. We will toast to long lost friendships as we build our better days. In the glens and cities, there on every street, are the living heroes no army will defeat. Let our flag mean freedom and not a battle drum. We are all the heroes of Scotland. We're a nation hand in hand. We will march beneath her banners to protect our ancient land. In the glens and cities, there on every street, are the living heroes no army will defeat. Let our flag mean freedom and not a battle drum. Good evening, folks. I hope you're all well, cozy, safe, comfortable. You like my new look? The old man of the Forester. John the blaring pensioner rules. Ah, there's Budgie. Good evening, Budgie. Good evening, Toffee, Anglo, Treble M, of course, and Budgie. So I hope you like this new man of the forest look. I'm kind of here, but not here. I'm coming to get you. It's a new look, Anglo. This is it. Do you like it? Do you think it'll work? Will it draw in an audience? Like the hands? I was watching a movie last night. Kind of looked like this. Oops. That's it, Robert. Robert's a man who gets around, you know, folks. I see him in quite a few places. So anyway, that's enough of that. There you go. How's that? That better? Yeah, I was watching a film last night, a horror movie, and it had that sort of effect to it. But never mind. Not for my audience, I don't think. I need to get round to picking a movie for the next review. So yes, I got this in. I got this in this week. Labour Party looking for me to vote for them. Yeah. I'm sure you're all like me, finding it totally unacceptable that our professional politicians are all bought and paid for by the Jewish lobby. We can say that with confidence now. This is no longer any conspiracy theory. No longer. And I have no doubt it gets deeper and dirtier. It just shows you how corrupt politics is or has allowed to become. I remember when I announced that I was going to become active in politics, my mother was horrified, absolutely horrified. I don't think she ever really recovered from that. Why would I do such a thing? Naively, of course, and I was being naive, more than I understood when I said it. But I did say, well, if I were to get elected, then it would be a little less corrupt than it is already. But as I say, that was rather naive of me to say that. So you can never be too old to be naive, folks. That's for sure. It's not just for the young. But these latest revelations are proving to demonstrate, I hope, to the general public just how corrupt these professional politicians are. and perhaps will help small parties like our own, independence. I certainly hope so. It should. If people had any common sense, it should. When you think about it, if the Labour Party were being elected into government the way things are at the moment, who would really be running the country? Would it really be British politicians, or would it be politicians on the end of puppet strings from a small Middle Eastern country called Israel? Because that's certainly what it looks like to me. And the other lot are just as bad, and that's being opened up more and more. So it'll be interesting to see how far they they let this go. I think this is all good news. I think it's all coming at a good time. Now, I'm sort of disconnected in the sense I don't have a television and I don't buy newspapers. So I'm not quite sure just how much it's being announced in the press. Toffee, what's this you're saying? Most Western governments are zero-G'd. And Anglo is saying United States of America. Well, that's certainly true as well. But I don't think we're any better. Trevor Lemon saying civil servants have all the say. Well, I know that I know that beyond a certain rank that's probably true. But don't forget, Censor's got the answer for that. Yeah, thank you, Toffee. It has to get all the civil servants to sign contracts so that they can be fired if they break them. And obviously that's a policy that the party has adopted. We haven't written it down because it's a party document. It's a party policy that I wouldn't want civil servants to be too well aware of for obvious reasons. Thanks for that, Toffee. I wasn't too sure. Jojo, good evening. I always write scum on the ballot paper at every election, and scum always wins. Oh, Toffee's making a joke, of course. I just drew a big swastika on my ballot papers. And I couldn't help but pick up on the fact that since the new uh, speech laws have come into action on Monday, that the First Minister's had about 2,000 complaints against them. And that author, J.K. Rowling, has had over 1,000. Of course, that's thrown the whole thing into disarray because I bet he never thought that that would happen to him. So it should be interesting as we follow it where this leads. Will it be quietly put into a corner with the hope of it disappearing? That's the one I'm thinking on, Toffee. I think about 2,000 other people did the same thing, which is an absolute disgrace. An absolute disgrace, that. If he's not happy with that, then he should go back or go to some other country where there are more people like himself. But that, to me, just highlights who the bigots are. You see, that just happens to be a truth there, Anglo. The truth that they're not happy about, or he's not happy about, obviously. Is that what they've said? Jojo's filling us in. Police Scotland have already said they won't be investigating anything beyond a certain date. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh, good evening, Julia. Thanks for sending me the email with that channel on it. Yeah, I'm feeling okay, Julia. Thanks for asking. I'm, yeah, absolutely, Toffee. That's the spirit. So thanks for that. I've been looking at a few of the videos on there. All very interesting stuff. I think that's great, Toffee. I'm going to keep reporting him every couple of days. One of the Scottish lads from DJ's channel set up a Telegram page about the new hate speech laws. Excellent stuff. That's what to do. Absolutely. Good on you. Keep up the good work. Ah, good evening, Bass. Treble M saying, Toffee, the Labour Scottish leader, said a very similar speech about all high profile positions being held by white people. I haven't seen that one, Treble M, but if you say he did, I'll take your word for it, of course. Good evening, Doberman. Anglo is asking, I've never seen such anti-white racism. How can Yosef get away with it? Well, they get away with it because they they don't see the folly of what they've initiated for a start. And I don't know. I'm reluctant to say that they don't appreciate what they're saying. I think they are. I think they know quite well what they're saying. And I think they know quite well what they intend. I'm not that forgiving, and I don't think they can't be that stupid. So it comes down to, let us be honest, the highest position you can have in Scotland in politics is to be the First Minister. And perhaps somebody like him, the First Minister that we have, thinks that he's above the laws that he himself has made, which of course he's not, or shouldn't be. Well, I was speaking to my pa. My pa was down visiting me today, and we were talking about this, Jojo. I've heard the Rangers lads will be testing the new law out tomorrow, and he was saying exactly the same thing. That's exactly what will be happening. In fact, I wasn't even aware that they don't allow the two sets of fans to be in the stadiums now. Awful. Really, really awful. I don't know if McCoist is going. I really don't care about such things. I don't, honestly. It matters nothing to me which of these two teams win or lose. I really don't care. It was one of the many things that put me off becoming interested in football. Anglo saying Ali McCoy says he's going to break the law at the game tomorrow. Well, if he does, I'm sure nothing will happen. No, is it Sunday, Robert? I don't think anything will happen. He's too he's too well known a figure in Scotland anyway. He's very well associated with Rangers Football Club. But as I say, I've got no interest in it at all. When I was young in school, when I was still in school, this bigotry made itself known, and it certainly put me off trying to find out something about football because I didn't know anything about football, to be honest. I couldn't have told you the rules. In fact, when I was in school, I don't think I could have told you how many people were on a team. That's how little I knew about it. But when I heard some of the language that I would hear in the playground, it was just dreadful. So I didn't want anything to do with it and made a conscious effort to remove myself as far as I could from it because of the kind of things that would be said. That's quite a different thing, Anglo, what you're saying there. Happiest days of my life, playing football with my muckers. Yeah. And I've inquired a little bit into this. And apparently at one time, these two teams, the management side of them, uh, deliberately played into the sectarian thing, which I think is awful. But as I am well aware of now, some people will do anything to make money, including that, fostering that kind of bigotry and hate. So I don't take anything to do with it and never have. But I told you before this little anecdote that I always thought was funny. I was in a pub one night and I was wearing my university graduate scarf. And this old fella, I wasn't as old as I am now, so um, came over here a bit tipsy, of course. And he says, "Oh, I see you're a Motherwell supporter, son," which I thought was hilarious. Sectarian Anglo saying sectarianism coming to the whole UK soon. So that may well be true. Robert, Hamza, and Sarva piss me right off trying to infer they're interested in or follow football. The only football that I've ever, I don't even follow it, I take an interest on it. And that's the national team, Scotland, England, Wales, and Ireland. If they're playing somewhere, well, in the days when we had television, and we could watch it, I watched it and would shout for the home team, whatever home team it was. So that's as far as it went. I'm not sure what is that's based on, Doberman. We've had Irish pissing on our war memorials for years. They can all bugger off. Robert Ingram, yeah, I saw that, wearing Celtic slippers. He's just as Scots as you. You're into an area I really don't know much about, to be honest. Doesn't bother me that I don't know much about it. Any time I've seen Celtic and Rangers fans, they're usually half drunk and causing bother. Toffee saying he's not wrong. The Irish contingent are a problem in both Glasgow and Liverpool. Hate to say it, but it's true, says Toffee. Well, I I honestly can't comment. I just can't. Yusuf is an ancient Scottish name. I'll have you know, says says Anglo. Good evening. That's that. I can't watch an English footy game. Too much multicultural for me now. Oh, there's Celius. Good evening, Celius. Nice to see you here. He should be washing elephants or kneading dough with his feet. Oh, I sometimes envy you folk with a sense of humour you've got. Ah, dear. Toffee saying Antifa and Liverpool all have Irish backgrounds and hate the British. Absolute commies. I can see why you say that, Toffee. That I kind of understand. Good evening to you, sir, or madam. I think it's a sir. I heard, oh, there's Durst. Good evenings, sir. How are you doing? Well, that's nice. Well, my pal was telling me something pretty awful today, and it's kind of on this subject, but not via football though. You might have heard that. I certainly had never heard this. This is apparently very recent. This, so let me tell you. Some man in Scotland, right, who has made something of a large fortune for himself. So much so that he doesn't know what to do with it all. And apparently wanted to give a large sum to charity. York Hill Children's Hospital, to be exact. Now, for somebody like Treble M or perhaps even Toffee, I don't know. But that's like St. Ormond's in London. It's a it's a very well known children's hospital in Scotland. It's in Glasgow. Sad to say, I've been there. Well, anyway, this person who has all this money was going to donate millions to the hospital for the children with one proviso. And that proviso was that none of the money could be spent on a child if that child was a Catholic. Which I thought was pretty awful. Pretty awful. So obviously the hospital couldn't take the money. But I've just found that very, very difficult to accept that in this day and age, with everything that's going on and everything that has been going on in the last 70 odd years, that such a division could be voiced. The Orange Order raised money for Catholic disabled bairns. Sounds like shit. Well, I just found it so difficult to accept, Triple M. I've never heard such a thing. I was absolutely shocked when he told me. And I questioned him on it, of course. I thought it might have been something, from years and years ago. But no, apparently it's recent. Right? And then he told me, another one. Just, if you like, sort of to balance us up. My friend was a student at Glasgow University, same as myself, right? We're both graduated out of the arts faculty. But he was at university as a young man. Although he's never filled in the details, he left home pretty early on in life. So I suspect that there was some trouble at home with the parents, right? But you can't. I mean, that's just nonsense to try. But I'll get back to that. Go and finish this. So he was really struggling on the financial side because he had to find a place to stay and all of that. So he was really, really struggling. And then his one of his guidance tutors said, "There's money available. Why don't you look into that?" And he did. And as he said, there were quite a few charities. He says, and I looked at them all. He says, and I qualified for every one of them except on one thing. I says, what was that? He says, you had to be a Protestant to qualify. So you had these different charities who'd laid out different sums of money. If you were an undergraduate, you could apply, get a bit of money, a bit of financial help to see you through, unless you happen to be a Roman Catholic. And that disqualified you for anything. Again, I was shocked, absolutely shocked. It seemed a bit more acceptable because I assumed that these foundations had been laid down some time ago. But that's not the point. Not really. But the other one with the millionaire is very modern, apparently. Doberman. Two Scottish laddies serving in the British Army got murdered by the provost on the traitor English para. Whoops. Well, they're 18-year-old laddies. They were 18. Yeah. A pastor told the congregation not to donate to Muslim charities. I giggled with agreement with her, says Treble M. Robert. Mum a pape, dad a prod, relatives from chapels in the lodge. I love the passion of the stranglers of this country, but support Celtic. The Kirk of Scotland presented a report in 1933 what would happen to Scotland if we accepted the Irish menace. Now look at our country. Oh, another bit of a stranger pressure drop. Good evening to you. I like the sarcasm, Anglo. I like the sarcasm. Keir Starmer, Diane Abbott, David Lammy, and Anglo Arena will take care of us. They will indeed. Just how will they take care of us, eh? Dread to think. So, as I've said already about these new laws, and as I said to my friend, I'm not changing my views. I'm certainly not changing what I say. I never have, unless I'm convinced that I've been wrong about something, I'll change my mind, of course. But if I believe that I'm right about something, I'll stick by it. And I've always got to remember, and so should all of you remember this as well. I speak for two. I speak as an individual person. At the same time, there are times and places where I have to speak on behalf of the party. So I have to be careful that I don't bring the party into any disrepute. Oops. The Irish were allowed to vote in the Brexit referendum, and they voted in their numbers. They voted leave. It was a punishment, says Pressure Joe. Anglo, unelected Pakistani Muslim, First Minister of Scotland. Unelected Indian Prime Minister. Don't you just love democracy? It's great. Well, I've never been a big fan of democracy, folks. I'm telling you that straightforwardly. I've never been a big fan of it. All I could ever see with so-called democracy is that what you end up with is a minority rules the majority. That's what I see. And what makes it even worse is that minority rather, who have the reins of power, take no responsibility for any of the decisions that they make because they hide inside this uh, voting system. Yeah, there's that. Egypt as well. So I've never been a big fan of it, ever. I think it's one of the many, many things that needs a serious rejigging in Britain is how we arrive at top positions. And I'm being serious. Yeah, there's not one of them any good. Construct. Oh, I always thought that was one of the many things that brought about this establishment in Edinburgh in Wales was the fact that the Westminster setup was totally um, imbalanced. And I'm being kind when I say that. I don't think it's anything to be proud of what we have in this country. I've thought about Westminster in Scotland and Wales and that shambles in Ireland as well. part of the trouble is the imbalance, of course, of the populations. I certainly agree with that 100%. This nation of islands will be an Islamic shithole if things carry on the way they are. I agree with that. I really do. Much as I don't like to, but I do see it. As I've said many, many times, Doberman, England falls, we all fall. That's the reality I see. We can't afford to let England fall. And if we don't do something very quickly, it will be too late. And I don't say that with any joy, even at my age. I think it's a disgrace, a total and utter disgrace for any old person who takes the attitude, ah, well, I'm not going to see it, I'm not going to be around. I think that's disgraceful. I know I don't take that attitude, and anybody of any age shouldn't take that attitude. Well, I don't think quite yet pressure drop, to be honest with you. England has already fallen, he says, and we're looking for a lifeboat. Well, it can't support the number of people we've got, treble M. And it couldn't even support the number we used to have before all this started up. There's never been a serious attempt in my lifetime, there's never been a serious attempt to become self sufficient as far as food's concerned. I'm old enough to remember a time when politicians, professional, so-called professional politicians, spoke about imports and export and the balance of payments and all this stuff. Well, you don't hear anything like that now, of course. Oh, there's Spanish chicken. Good evening, Spanish chicken. uh, Lifeboats are full of incoming, says Spanish chicken. Oh, and there's Scots Armour. Good evening, Scots Armour. Ah, nice to see you here. Oh, you're always lurking. Oh, that's nice to know. It's nice to know. Oops. Yeah, I was going to say a little while ago, but as always, I got derailed.
Well, I certainly haven't received anything. Scots, I haven't received anything from you. Just let me double check that, but there's nothing earlier today. I shall just check, my friend. I don't like things lying about. I would answer it pretty pronto. Uh, no, no, I haven't received any. Well, I'm sure it'll come when it's good and ready. I always go with Scotland. Scotland's natural population has never been above 5.5 million. Never. And very often, more often than not, it's below 5.5 million. But it's more than that now. Yeah, I was going to give you some of my good news about my health. Uh, I had the dietitian here the other couple of days back, and they bring their own weighing machine, by the way, just as well because I don't have one. Anyway, uh, appears that I'm now over 12 stone in weight. My gosh, never been that weight in my life. Well, Scots, I can only say I haven't received it. I just checked there. I haven't received it. I don't know why I haven't. Uh, there's Exile Viking. Good evening. Uh, so I don't know why I haven't received it. Oh, yeah, that. Yeah, I've received that. So I beg your pardon. I have. Yes, I'll take that back. Yes, you're quite right. I did receive that. Sorry about that. I wasn't going back far enough. A celebration of Easter. Yeah, I got it. Thank you. Well, I said the last time you were here, and I said to you live, we need to get you back on again, and I do mean it. Get you back. So I promise I'll do that. I'll write a letter, an email this week. I promise. uh, I will have you on. I will have a good chat as always. But yeah, that was a good news. So the dietitians very happy with me. Put on weight. It's almost half a stone I've put on. I don't want to be over 12 stone, but I am. And I won't be doing anything deliberately to try and lose weight. Put it that way. Uh, so I'm finished with the dietitian. That's good news. And just to carry on, as far as eating habits are concerned, um, and next week I have to go and see about my leg. with the blood clot and see what they're going to say about that. So what you say in Exile, it's been predicted that the UK will be a white minority by 2066, but it'll much sooner if the current trend is allowed to continue. But in 20 years, 2044, he says, you'll start noticing less whites. I think that's already true in certain places, to be honest. That's probably true, or truer than you think. In London, big cities, Manchester. But yeah, it's a concern. But as I've said often, you know, the only problem we've really got, but it's a huge, huge problem, I know. The only problem is, and I don't have an answer, how do we motivate working class people to vote for us? We've got three parties now. John Lawrence's party, which is South East in England, my own party, which is Scotland West and Central, and what's his name? Gosh, his name slipped me. In the north, Kenny. Three parties, and we cannot agree enough to become one voice. That's the problem, because there's enough of us. And that's why I've always said that to begin with, we need to concentrate in Scotland. There's a greater chance of us taking power in Scotland if we could only get people to unite and help one another. The people are the people need somewhere to go, and they don't have it at the moment. We need to show them that we are here. And I'm confident that when we get our booklet out with our policies on it, people will support it. Anyone who has read it agrees with everything that's in it. I don't see a problem with it. And once we've got power, then we will not have a problem, I assure you. Well, I say that, I always like to assume I will be in charge. But any one of us, we know what to do. We know what needs done. It's not as if it's a problem we don't have answers for. We do. That's the frustrating part, I find. We have the answers. We need the power, and we need to come together, and we can't seem to do that. I agree. I agree with that view. I already see in my local high street, there's more here than we are told. I agree with you. Empty Premises just opened a couple of weeks ago, just off the high street. Black Africans. Yeah, it just raises so many questions. Where'd they get the money? Where'd they get the telephones? Where'd they get the trainers and the clothes and the car? Where's all this come from? And I think, well, I'm sure I've told you that when I was in hospital last year, as you know, I was in and out of hospital quite a bit last year. There they are, all over the hospital. What are they doing? Brushing floors. Brushing floors. Where are our men, our young men? They can brush floors. Why are they not getting these jobs? That's what I say. I want the answer to that. I'll have you on soon, Scots. I'll send you an email over the weekend. Promise you. There, I promised. I'll do it. But no, I get very frustrated when I see this. Towns filled with so-called Turkish barber shops. These people, wow. See, I don't like get started on this because I just get more and more frustrated and more angry. And this is a public platform, and it's not the place for me to be getting angry. Toffee's saying, it blows my mind the population of Indigenous Scottish, considering there's around 1 million people just in the Liverpool city region. It's pretty mind blowing. Yeah, I'm sure it must be, Toffee. Well, that's the natural population. It used to be the natural population of Scotland was 4.5 million. Tottered up and down a little bit, by thousands up and down a few thousand, but never any more than 4.5 million until this all started up. Exiled saying, good evening. Good evening to you, sir. That's good news. Glad you're getting there. Well, just so there is no mistake, folks, this is to everyone. Just let me remind you, cancer's not something you get rid of. I've got cancer. I'll die with cancer. It may not be the thing that kills me, but I'll still have it. Well, that's what they tell me, Spanish chicken. They keep telling me that. I'm putting weight on. That's great news. If I was losing weight, they'd be worried. And if I was losing weight, I would be worried. That's why I asked for the dietitian in the first place. Because for a short while last year, when I was at my lowest, I did lose weight. I went down to just under 9.5 stone. And I had not ever been that. So for me, my weight was very simple. When I left school, I was around 9 stone, a real lightweight. A year after I left school, now I'm left school at the age of 15, so when I'm around 16, I'm now 10 stone. And I remained 10 stone throughout my life. up until 50-ish, and I started putting a few pounds on middle age. And then last year, of course, I just lost weight. Well, thank you. It's nice of you all to be concerned. I do appreciate it. I do. It means a lot. Because it's one of these situations, nobody can actually do anything physically for you to help. And I get lag all the time. Well, that's true, Bass. It's always a small amount of men and women who have that impact on history. Oh, that's quite a. Some people would call this toffee. Some people would call this a coincidence, and other people would call it destiny or design. So this is a piece of music, and I kind of dedicate this to Toffee because I know he likes it. Very good choice. Like to give it up the right. Hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed it. It's there's another part to that where the song is. If I could just find it. Found it. Right, Toffee, this is for you as well. So let me bring it on. I hope you enjoyed the other one. The artwork, of course, was made by you good people. Enjoy the music. I'll try and catch up. The heck's that? It's the wrong one, John. Get that off. Oh, screwed up. Screwed up, folks. We'll get it yet. This is it this time.
Hail to the Lord who reigns in hell. His will is done on earth as well. We can't be seen, we don't exist. That's how we like it. Makes us so hard to resist. Hail to the King, the Lord of Night. Shadow and fear that feed on fright. We're marching strong, our banners bold. That's how we like it. You have no will to withhold. Shadows of war concealed in words of peace. Blood, death, and tears are what they mean. Because war's heart and soul, and is paid in blue. While we gather the souls, praise the Lord, praise the Lord. Shadows of war concealed in words of blood, death, and tears are what they hear. Because war, bought and sold, and there's pain in whose blood. While we gather the soul, praise the Lord, praise the Lord. Hail to the Lord who reigns in hell. His will is done on earth as well. We can't be seen, we don't exist. That's how we like it. Makes us so hard to resist.
There you go. Finally got it. This is one of that was a song I put on, and I think it was the first time Toffee was here. Hail to the John. Instant liked it. He instantly liked it, and that's interesting. Pressure. This is 80s lyrics with 60s music. Is that what that sounds like to you? 60s music? Yeah. Interesting. The ending is brill, says Treble M. Very dramatic. Well, it was written specially to go into my audio recording of a book. I always remembered that, Toffee, that I'm sure it was the first time you were on here. And I happened to play it that night, and you just thought it was really good. To be fair, says Scott's Armour, it has a psychedelic sound to it. Yeah. Interesting. It's always highly interesting to me what audiences think about my music. I'm constantly surprised by what is said. That's for sure. Anglo, quite trippy. Amazing. Well, as I say, I wrote it especially for the screw tape letters. And I think I've played that on here. It's only the first chapter, certainly, but it's long enough to give you a real flavour of the rest of the book. Not my book, sad to say, but a book worth reading, a book worth buying if you've never read it. Robert saying, groove with synth sound to me. Yeah, I've got a Roland synth that I bought. I bought it purely for the imitation of other instruments. I thought it was very good at doing that. I've always enjoyed the synth music. I thought it was a real breakthrough in music when I first heard it. An early Depeche Mode. Quite liked them, by the way, Pressure Drop. Reminded me of a fairground music. There again, I weird. Well, as I say, I always thought the synth was quite spectacular when it first appeared. Still do feel that about it. Some of the tracks it's being used in is phenomenal. I used to like that group Foreigner a lot. Don't know if you're acquainted with it, the group Foreigner. They used a lot of synths in their stuff. Really, really good. But there you go. That's why I bought it. It was to try and make up for not having other musicians that I could call upon to join me in recording. Depeche Mode live. You've seen them live, good. Was well into them. House music came from bands like Depeche, Frankie Knuckles, etc. Well, that was one of the things that drove me into getting a synth, was the fact that they could imitate other instruments. Very good pressure drop. Don't think many people like Foreigner these days, John. The Tories brainwashed a lot of people. But it has a huge sound, synth sound. Fabulous. I want to know what love is. What a fabulous track that is. Fabulous song. What can you say? Everyone's got different tastes. Just as well. Great band, says Spanish Chicken. I think I've got 2 CDs of Foreigner over here in the corner. Exactly, Linda. Foreigner, I mean, not too keen on foreigners who never leave. Likewise, the group was, I thought the group was really, really good. That was one of my favourite tracks. I want to know where all of us became Reckless Eric. Don't know that one. Don't know that one, Pressure Drop. That was Laura and I's favourite. That was a special song for us. Hello, Joan, and all from PA. Paul Freed. We had an earthquake this morning at 10:30 a.m. We are all okay. My first one. Love the show. Well, thank you very much. Philly, USA is a speculation from our Spanish Chicken. I guess that's Philly, USA. I'm sure we will be told. 10:30. Earthquake. Philadelphia. You're going with that Spanish Chicken. Philadelphia. Could easily be. Could easily be. So anyway, if you were here earlier, then well, It's not an examination to Spanish chicken. Your spelling. Spelling is not an examinable subject in this channel. Right? So I will be giving out an invitation for my good friend Scott's Armour to come on, and we will have a real good conversation, as we always do. Pressure Drop, the whole wide world by Reckless Eric is a classic. I don't think I know it. Pressure Drop. Don't think I know it. Yeah, as long as you're all right, that's the main thing. When it hit, I was like, sweet Jesus, AM, in trouble. He thought he was in trouble. Well, that's one of the things that I can't do, is I can't put on other people's music. Pressure Drop. Well, I can, but I choose to do it very sparingly. And the reason is I don't want to give Mr. YouTube an excuse. Anytime you play somebody's music, even if it's only an extract of that music, you get what is known as a copyright strike. And I've had a few in the past. I used to do it fairly regularly. I used to enjoy that. I used to go looking for music, and I found plenty of really good music, and I used to bring it and play it. And then I got a bit worried about the amount of strikes I was getting, so I stopped it. That's why most of the time. Exactly. Exactly, Pressure Drop. I know who you're talking about. Don't want to turn out like Tony Blackburn. Well, they can do what they like, Linda. Spanish chicken. They can do what they like. That's my problem with it. And now we've got even more restrictions. I'd rather not tempt the fate. I would rather keep the communication open now that we have it it's such a useful thing for us all. And as I say, my argument for staying on YouTube is not because it's great, it's because it's simple. People who don't even use the internet have heard of YouTube. That's one of its great strengths, perhaps its only strength. So I don't do it. I don't even like the fact that you can't show extracts from films. That really bothers me as well. And they just cut in on the live stream if you do it. I tried it once. I didn't know he was banned, Anglo. I'm not totally on board with Reverend Simon Sideways. Sit in a civic nationalist, is he? Well, I don't punch right. 100,000 subs, is that what he has? Well, banned them from live streams. Didn't know. I didn't know that. I once watched them, of course, but it didn't last too long. Well, then, I hope I'm not one of them. Oh. I don't know how they could take that position, to be honest. I don't get it. They're more likely to do us more harm than anything else. I think I would certainly go along with that view. Well, I watched them, Scots. I used to watch them in my early days on YouTube, but I tired of it. Is that right, Robert? Duffy put him straight. I can believe that. When he joined 42's lives. Yeah. It sounds interesting. It sounds difficult, yeah. Well, Toffee can be as as sharp as a razor. Can and often is. Oh dear, oh dear. I didn't know though that they'd stopped him. I knew he had a big channel, but most people have got a bigger channel than I've got. And I hope if you are one of the people who have listened to my short videos that I've started to make, I hope you're enjoying it. Quality, John. No time for any patriot types. See anyone crying for Scotland like they did Ireland or taking the piss. F them. Well, as I said, I've never really understood the civic nationalist position. How can they take that position? I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. I had that clues fella on once. I came across him and invited him on. He just seemed a bit, dare I say it, weak. And I saw no chance at a long conversation with him. And it seemed just the same to me, listening. Patriots are unionists, in my view. Says pressure drop. So yeah, we'll definitely have Scott's armour back on. That's for sure. In fact, if I really put my mind to it, I should really do it tonight and send him an email. And we'll get a date sorted. I'd rather you, by the way, while you're here, Scots, I would rather you chose a Tuesday rather than a Friday. But if you prefer a Friday, we can do that as well. Okay. As you know, I try to keep the Friday stream, a bit less heavy. Put it that way. Exile Viking. The one that really bores me is a guy called Ex Army Pass. Well, that's interesting you say that. It is. I've watched him for a while and I've got to the point, I've subbed to him, by the way, but I've got to the point where I'm about to unsub from him. And maybe it must be me that's changing. Yeah, well, that's for sure. Anglo. That's for sure. Well, that's how I am with him. I know exactly who you mean. I've been watching him for a while, long before he came out from behind the camera. He's out in front of the camera now, but that hasn't been going on too long. So it's interesting you saying that. Interesting pressure drops of cream with you. uh, as I say, I don't know why. He just bore is an interesting word. I never thought of applying that word. Bore. Maybe that's what it is, and I just haven't identified it. I don't know. Lately, in the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks, I've just deflated on him. I don't know. Andy the Gabby Cabby wakes up in the morning and looks for stuff to nag about. Is that what it is? Civic nationalist, is that what it is? Is that what I detect? Is that what's aggravating me? Could be. Well, as I say, if somebody wants to come on and explain that position, I would appreciate it. Because I just don't get that position. Don't get it at all. I don't think he's ever said he's that. Maybe I just feel it in the air when he speaks. Maybe that's the attitude that I'm wearing thin on. He's got a fairly big number of folk too that watch him. Say that. Yeah, that's who I'm talking about, Robert. Well, again, I just remind everyone that you can't invite people on until you get an email address to write to them. That's the whole problem. I've tried it. I tried all that stuff in the beginning before I had any email addresses. I tried it. I used to leave messages in the comment section. Tried the chat. It was hopeless. Nobody ever replied to me. Yeah, it's a duck. We're missing him as well. And the other fella, what's his name? Is that what it is, Budgie? Sit, nap position is as long as they integrate, everything's okay. Well, I don't think that's a wise position to take. I don't think it's a position that can last. To be honest, not if you look at it from any sort of semblance of logic. It won't last, that kind of position. Not in my book, it doesn't or won't. Yeah, Streaky is missing as well. Quite a few missing. Ultra Nationalist is missing. I haven't seen him for a wee while. Well, thanks for the filling me in there, Budgie. It saves me asking them, doesn't it? Getting sucked into. Well, I think for me, Anglo is that 42. His streams are a bit late for me now. Ever since the chemotherapy, I don't have the energy that I once had. Yeah, that's that. Steve wrote me a nice email explaining what he was up to. So I know that he hasn't deserted us or anything like that. That he's taking a break for all sorts of very good reasons. Uh, and he will be back, I know that. He is a party member after all. He can't be deserting us at this point. Thank you, Exile Viking. It is 11 o'clock, right enough. I'll be back. I have no fears about that. Not only is he a good moderator, he's a really nice man, and I've spoken to him extensively. Thank you, Treble M, also for the time check. Exile Viking saying, I gave up my Civ Nat phase 4 years ago. The BLM riots saw to that, and that was the last straw. Of course, again, I don't know whether I would call it fortunate or unfortunate anymore, but I'm old enough to remember the riots years ago that happened down in England. It was absolutely horrendous. Well, that's why I don't bother with these things, Toffee. I think for me, what goes on here in the chat is enough for me to cope with. And the channel is small enough that I can speak to you directly, or I feel as though I'm speaking to you directly. And I like that. If there was too many people on the chat, I would lose. I feel as though I would lose that personal touch that I think I've got with you all. Although we've never really met. Well, I've met Exile Viking, but apart from him, I haven't met anybody else on here. And that's what I like. I like to be able to feel as though there's a connection going on. Oh, that's for sure. Just noticed that when Anglo. Civ Nats are just as bad as lefties. I'm not going to argue on that. I'm just not. I was there at the poll tax rise in Trafalgar Square. Oh, Jesus, that was wild. That was. It was brutal, but it had to be. Yeah, yeah. That was awful. That was really awful. It's bad up here as well. Not as bad as it was in England, but bad enough as far as I'm concerned. Steve's good. Taking a wee break. Well deserved one at that. Absolutely, Scott's Armour. As I say, I've spoken to him a few times now on phone. He's really, really nice. He's a nice lad. And he's got a nice boy as well. And he looks after another young lad. Treble M saying if there was too many people on the chat, I wouldn't be much good at moderating the stream. Yeah, don't sell yourself short, Treble M. Surprised what you can do. It's another one of that. Too. Civic knots are insidious. Oh dear. As I say, where do you get these sense of humours? I need to buy one. Oh. That's it. That's what they did. Changed the name. I ended up being very angry about all of that, to be honest with you, because at the time I did what I thought was the right thing, but it turned out to be something I shouldn't have done. And that was, I stopped paying my rates, as it was called. While this battle was going on. And then at the end of it all, I owed the council a load of money, which I didn't have. Ended up in debt. Took me a while to pay it all back off. And I knew plenty of people. I worked beside plenty of people. I was in education at the time. I worked beside a lot of teachers who were encouraging everyone not to pay the rates. But what they were doing, they could afford it. They were putting the rate money aside. So at the end of the battle, they didn't get into any debt. They just went to the bank and lifted what they owed, paid it off. Oh, you're pals with him, are you, Toffee? That's good. He talks like a Victorian era cockney chimney sweep. Core blimey of it. I'm sure that'll raise a smile, Toffee. Ah, dear, I tell you. Well, folks, I was going to say, it's time I was closing this stream off, and it is. So I'm going to ask you all, keep an eye out for the people who are missing here. It's a duck, streaky bacon. Don't worry about Steve, I know about Steve. Thatcher, sold off the houses, so lost the rents. She stopped the council tax, beg your pardon, she slapped the council tax on people who had just bought into her bollocks. Yeah, well, that's right. Oh, that's fine. Scott's armour, thank you for that. As long as I know people are okay. I'm terrible for that. It doesn't take much for me to get attached to folk. And I start worrying about them if they don't show up. Seeing Sir Tam Lipton in a stream the other day, first for a while. Yeah, he pops in here fairly regularly. Again, it's not somebody that I would worry about, but some people I do concern myself when I don't see them. So anyway, it's time I was not here. And this is Friday night, the traditional beginning of the weekend, folks. So I hope wherever you live, you get some decent weather. The weather here today has been absolutely diabolically bad. So we're all cut out at this point. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. We have to organise, folks. I'm fed up saying it. But we need to organise. We need to get together. Well, as I always say, folks, adios, au revoir, cheerio, and until Tuesday evening, goodbye for now. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate, enjoyed the chat as always. And we'll speak real soon. And at some point, we'll have Scott's Armour on. Look forward to that as always. So enjoy the music, and I'll speak to you all soon. Okay? Thanks for being here. Be pretty long couple of hours if I was here myself. Enjoy the music.
Silently the snow falls, paints a winter scene, swiftly spreads the dark rim, hides the fading autumn green. Moonbeams brush the dark wood, conjure friendships dear to me. Lightly now the breeze flows, disturbing more than just the leaves. But life's much more,
So much more
than we can know.
than we can possibly know.
We are one small glow
But an important goal
in the eternal flow. Patiently the love grows, lifts the weary heart. Gently now she holds me, melts two worlds once apart. Moonbeams brush the dark wood, usher dreams of you and me. Softly then the breeze blows, disturbing more than just the trees.
all together, man.
But love's much more,
So much more
than we can know.
than we can ever
We are one small glow in the eternal flow. Melodies of long ago, songs of innocence, harmonies to soothe the soul, have some consequence. Moonbeams brush the dark wood, awakening joys of you and me. Silently the snow falls, bringing winter symphony.
all together, man.
But we're much more,
So much more
than we can know.
than we can ever possibly know.
We are one small glow
But an important
in the eternal flow. But life's much more, than we can know. We are one small glow in the eternal flow.
So you take care, folks. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, whatever you do. And I'll speak to you all, by the grace of God, next week, Tuesday. Until then, take care. And again, thank you for being here.